Okay, Harry Nuts here. Recently I purchased a pizza and it was less than what I expected out of the dough. So today we're gonna make our own pizza dough and our own pizza. So we're gonna use this Anna Napoleana unbleached Tipo double lot extra fine. This is made for pizza dough, so you just can't go wrong. And we're just gonna follow the directions right on the flour package here. It says, and all you need is half a teaspoon of sugar, 2.5 cups of room temperature water, a bag of flour, and a packet of dry yeast, and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. So I'm going to take you through that right now. So it says in a large measuring cup, combine the salt, sugar, and water. So we have our 2.5 cups of room temperature water. Half a teaspoon of sugar goes in that. And that's right here. So half a teaspoon of sugar. And since that's a teaspoon, I'm going to only put half of it in. And for salt, we're going to add 1 teaspoon. So 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of sugar to our water, and we're gonna stir that up, and then we're gonna pour our flour into a bowl here. It says make a well, and by making a well, it means push it to the sides, put a place for it to go, and we're gonna stir up our salt and our sugar, and we're going to have our active dry yeast ready. So here's what it says. In a large measuring cup, combine the salt, sugar, and water. And in a large bowl, add the flour and form a well in the center. Slowly pour the water into the well, and then add the yeast. Isn't that funny? So I've never seen that before. So what we're going to do is dissolve our sugar and our salt in our water and slowly pour it into our well. Okay, boom. And then we're going to add our yeast, and it says to add package 7 grams of instant dry yeast, which this just happens to be 7 grams. Okay, so boom. How funny that you add this. I've never done it this way, where you add it in here, and the yeast will start to eat the sugar, is what happens in there. Make sure you use all fresh ingredients so the yeast is alive. Okay, so now following the directions, it's going to say slowly pour in the water, and then add the yeast. Using a fork, begin to beat the water until the yeast dissolves. Okay, so in our little well here that we made, we're going to start dissolving our yeast, which that's what it's doing now. Slowly incorporate and so now it's looking like our yeast is dissolved, right? Making this little bubbles because the yeast is active. So we're going to slowly start adding our flour into our dough mix. And we're using a fork here. Okay. So we're gonna start making our dough start incorporating in a little bit more. Don't panic, it's not gonna get dry on you. There's been plenty of liquid. Oh boy, that happens. So I want to incorporate all this flour into my dough mixture. Okay, so now following the directions, it's almost all incorporated now. So following the directions, it says slowly incorporate until the dough begins to form. Place the dough onto a flat floured surface and knead until it's smooth and elastic, about 5 to 7 minutes. Drizzle a small amount of oil into the bottom of the bowl to prevent it from sticking and place the dough back into the bowl. So that's what we're going to do now is we'll flour. Let's see, let's get this here. Let me grab a little bit of flour. That's way too much flour. So I'm going to try and move that off to the side. Olive oil will do the same thing. If you put olive oil on your hands, the dough won't stick to you either. I should have put a towel under that board so it didn't slide around so much. Okay, so we're going to just flip it over and work it all together. With a little bit of flour on your hands will keep it from sticking. Oh, watch your head when you're kneading your dough on your cabinets. So it's working all together. Starting to get a little bit elastic, and elastic is fantastic, right? And if you keep flouring your hands, you won't have to flour the dough because it's transferring off of your hands onto the dough. Okay. Okay, we're liking it. Okay. Get back to our directions here. And it says, drizzle a small amount of oil on the bottom of a bowl to prevent from sticking. Place the dough in the bowl. Okay, so we're going to place a little bit of oil in our bowl. Olive oil. That seems like a lot, but this is going to rise, right? So I want to make sure and give it all the way up the sides there. Okay, we're going to place our dough in the bowl, And we're going to cover it with plastic and let it rise approximately 15 minutes. So I'm going to get the plastic. Funny. Okay, barely don't make it, so we'll just have to do it with two. Okay, so now that we have this covered, we're going to let it sit at room temperature for 15 minutes. Then I'll show you the result. Okay, so our dough is set out at room temperature, covered for 15 minutes. And what we're going to do now is pop it out of here and separate it into 3 equal parts and put them in their own container and then let it rise some more. So it's up to... Whoop. Okay, here's a tech tip for you. Tech tip is I put aluminum foil down on the countertops and I put a little olive oil on it. That way I wouldn't get in trouble with the wife for making a huge mess. Okay, everybody, so the whole dough is set out for 15 minutes and then at room temperature, and then I divided it into thirds, and now we have our dough that the divided dough is going to get made into the pizza. So I put the foil down. There's olive oil on it. I should put a little bit on my hands. And that'll give it a little bit more flavor too. You sure don't need much. And then we'll, so if you're like one of those tricky people, I think you can start stretching this. And it says to make it into a 14-inch circle, or if it starts to tear, then stop doing it. But it is elastic. And if you can spin it, more power to you. I don't know. But and if it don't turn out perfect, that's perfect. You know what I mean? Whoops. Kind of looking like a heart. Well, you know, that's pretty round.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get our pan that has olive oil on it. You can use a pizza stone. You can use, look at that, perfectly round. And you can use all kinds of stuff. Okay, so now let's start assembling. We chose this tomato basil to go on for our sauce. Pro tip, if you use too much sauce, then when you tip your pizza up to eat it, it's all going to fall in your lap. If you don't use enough, you're going to be bummed out because you didn't use enough. Hopefully that helped. I think we're gonna, what do you think?
Yeah, good.
Pretty good, right? Okay, so we didn't go out of our way to get a bunch of crazy stuff. We just used whatever we had around the house. We're going to use salami instead of pepperoni.
Cheese first.
Oh, I'm going to put my cheese first. Too much cheese is bad as not enough cheese. So, and it is mozzarella cheese. You can use pecorino. There's all kinds of pizza blends cheese. Man, that looks just right. Now, I was so excited over this salami that I almost forgot the cheese. And I hope that you'll leave a comment, subscribe, share this video if you like it. We're doing our best here to bring you some good content. Okay, boom. Okay, now what else do we got laying around? Well, sun-dried tomatoes. How many? I don't know. Just we'll put a few. Sun-dried tomatoes. How many? Perfect, right? Perfect. How about some bell peppers? Well, we're gonna put some bell peppers. There's nothing wrong with using whatever the heck you want. There we go, just the right amount. How about some onion? We just happen to have white onion. White onion has a mild flavor. Okay. We have the oven set at 400 degrees. We'll put it in for about 13 minutes. Now, I'll show you the result. Okay, so our pizza's in the oven. We have extra dough. We're gonna pile that out. It's nice and light for sure. What are we gonna do with it? Well, everybody likes breadsticks, right? So we're gonna get this in the shape of a, oh, this almost made a better pizza. We're gonna make our breadsticks round and our pizza square. No, I'm just kidding. But let's roll that out. Oop. Oop. And it's the same dough, right? That pizza places charge you for breadsticks as they do for pizza. Shoot, they don't have no special dough. You can see how elastic it is. So while our pizza's cooking, we might slip these in also. And see what we can come up with here. So I just took a little bit of garlic, a little bit of salt, and some butter, and we'll see what these turn out like. I've never done this, so I mean it just can't be that bad. These have to turn out killer. Almost seems like focaccia bread. Okay, we're gonna pop those in the oven too as a surprise. Okay, good news. Time's up. Yummy. So our pizza's done. I didn't have a second rack for our breadsticks, so they're actually gonna go in, which works out perfect. So I suggest you pick up the edge, make sure your pizza's done all the way in the center, and make sure you got you something that you won't get burned. and give this thing a nice roll. And I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised by your results. Even though the pizza didn't come out round, I mean, it didn't come out perfect, blah, blah, blah. It's going to come out perfect for us. And if you find that, you know, maybe you didn't use enough sauce, or you didn't use enough cheese, or you didn't, yeah, you can always change it next time. Here's the bottom line. We've got about $14 into 2 pizzas and breadsticks. So is it, maybe it's not perfect? Shoot, man. We're going to have some good eats out of this. Thank you all very much. Okay, we put our breadsticks in for 17 minutes. We wanted those a little bit more done. Yum. So as you can see, they're nice and brown on the bottom. Yummy.